Good morning, YouTube land. I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee. Me and Bucky here. If you know who Bucky is, I will be impressed. But we've been sitting here deciding whether or not to make this video and whether or not to share the information that we managed to dig up in the last few days as a video. Because the truth is, there's nothing in this video that is groundbreaking. There's nothing new. There's no new allegations coming from the court or from the lawyers or from anyone in this video. It's just some stuff that I have managed to dig up that I thought was interesting. I'm a person who likes to dig really deep and know as much as possible about the players, about who everyone is, about what is happening or what happened previously. And then I thought, why not? Why not share this information? The whole reason that a lot of people are in this situation is because people didn't share information. People didn't talk. People didn't do research. So maybe you won't find this video interesting, but I suspect that there are a few of you out there who are like me, who really want to know what's going on and who the players are and will find this interesting. And so this video is for you, fellow obsessor. But before I jump in, I want to get a few things out of the way. Some of you are new to the channel, and yes, I use screen shares like this all the time. Yes, they are low tech, and I don't care because they keep me on track. I can look at myself on the screen as I'm recording, and then I can also see a reminder of what it is that I was supposed to talk about. I don't have a teleprompter. I don't have a team. I don't have any editing skills whatsoever. I'm a mediocre YouTuber. I'm okay with that. I accept that. What's funny about getting some videos go, I don't want to say viral because viral is not what has happened, but to have more attention to your channel is that the trolls are also starting to come out. So the people who feel comfortable sitting behind their computers and leaving negative feedback on your videos, most of the time I feel like, tell me something I don't know. I'm just a gal drinking coffee, and I have a YouTube channel where I talk about buying, selling, and building income earning content sites. That's it. Next, I want to give a shout out to Richard Patey and John Gillum. These are two individuals who did share videos from the channel recently. I really appreciate it. I also have seen that several other individuals have commented on the videos that they shared them in the various forums. That's awesome, to the extent that they were helpful to the people and actually had information that people needed. Next, I have to do the disclaimer. Somebody, and this is back to the internet being forever, did a search and discovered that in my previous life, I was an attorney. I just have to say this right now. I'm not a practicing attorney today. Nothing in this video is legal advice. Securities law is not my specialty, and I'm making these videos for the most part from the perspective of an investor or a website operator. So try to take the information in these videos as such. Again, I don't have firsthand information about any of this. I'm not an income store investor, employee, former or present. And I make these videos because I think that that information needs to be out there. It really pisses me off that this happened, and we don't want it to happen again. So we need to have more of a dialogue about the situation and all of the aspects of it. All right, here we go. What you're seeing on the screen right here is a record that I found with the court confirming that Ken Courtright and Carrie Courtright actually filed bankruptcy. Now, this is an old case, and it's a Chapter 7. And this is something that they may have talked about publicly. I just didn't know it. It's old. It's back from 1999. But I think there are those in this group who didn't know this, and if they had known this, might have changed their position on moving forward with the company. None of the documents associated with this bankruptcy were available on the public filing system, so I couldn't look at the statements of financial affairs or anything else, but the record of it does still exist. But again, it's old. It's 20 years old. I just thought it was interesting. Next, I was digging through the temporary restraining order. I'll call it a TRO, and it noted in here that this order was partially based upon the SEC's memorandum of law and the declarations of Jeffrey R. Anderson, Thomas Kentner, Greg Parnell, and Patrick Feeney and accompanying exhibits. I want to know who those people are, right? Are these investors or are these law enforcement? Like, who are they? So I started digging around to see what the internet would tell me. In doing this, I noticed that there were a few lines about a few accounts with Heartland Bank and Trust Company. And when I did a search for Thomas Kentner, I noticed that he was the vice president at Heartland Bank and Trust Company. And the thing about the internet is there are so many people with the same name, so you have to try to connect the dots potentially of people who live in the same geographical area with the same name. You know, is this the person? Do I know for sure that this Thomas Kentner that I'm looking here at LinkedIn is the person from this memorandum? I don't know. But the fact that there are Heartland Bank and Trust Company accounts being addressed in the order, and Thomas Kentner is in Illinois, a VP at Heartland Bank, I have to think that this was his contribution to this order. Some information either about the presence of the accounts or maybe even transactions. We don't know yet. It's all speculation, but that's probably who that is. It wasn't too hard to identify Patrick Feeney. I found his name in a press release from the SEC. It talks about the SEC investigation being conducted by Patrick Feeney, and his LinkedIn confirms he's senior counsel at at U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. He's an attorney with a ton of experience, I might add. Holy cow, look back. He's been practicing since the 90s. I also found Jeffrey Anderson, who is likely also to be an attorney with the SEC. Greg Parnell was hard because I didn't find his name associated with the SEC. I did find a couple different Greg Parnells. He may be easier to track down in the long run because his first name has 2 G's in it, and there are not many people that spell the name Greg this way. I'm pretty sure I have a bead on who this individual is, but I don't want to call them out in case I'm wrong. It could be that Mr. Parnell contributed background advice information about websites, about website ownership or website investing, or this individual could be a website owner who was maybe a part of Income Store as an investor. Hard to say at this point. When they get around to releasing the declaration, we'll be able to confirm this. I'm just super curious. Next, I wanted to point out in the TRO that there was a paragraph that talked about how nothing in this order should be construed to require that defendants abandon or waive any constitutional or other legal privilege, such as the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. And the reason this is relevant is that also in this order, it is ordered that TCG file sworn accountings. So under the penalty of perjury, the court is demanding that information be submitted, not just from TCG, but also from Ken Courtright personally. Now, Kenneth Courtright has the right to assert the Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate himself, not make any statement, to basically not take action on this based upon his Fifth Amendment rights. But this places him in a really difficult position. Right now, his company is under the control of the SEC, and to be able to battle that and to get control back of his company, he would need to likely produce information as ordered in order to combat that. But in doing so, any of the information that he submits, especially stuff that is sworn, can and likely would be used against him at a later date in any proceedings, civil, if he gets sued by any of the individual investors, or even criminal if a criminal case is brought against him. Also, you'll look in here carefully at paragraph B. It asks that the accounting include any payments that TCG made on Courtright's behalf to pay a Barclays credit card. A Barclays credit card. This must be something significant in order to make this a line item in the order, and I can't imagine that that's a small amount. I also found an old Gofundme account, well, not an account, whatever you call these things, that was organized by some of the writers from the Income Store, and I wonder if it was something like this that put the pressure on the company to pay the writers right before Christmas. Doesn't look like they actually ended up raising any money, which makes sense, but this was out there for at least 5 days, and this is really just about all I can find publicly that is left of this dispute other than what has been posted in a few forums. And looking at the timing in the middle of December, you also have to wonder, where did that money come from? Income Store wasn't paying any of their litigation obligations with NZQ or with that Gonzalez guy. Where was this money coming from? I also wanted to mention that I was passed a screenshot that implied that there, in 2019, was a fairly large IRS against some property that Ken and Carrie Courtright owned in the amount of $1.7 million. It should also be noted that the TRO alleges that Ken Courtright transferred $2 million of investor funds to his own use. Now, the reason I'm not sharing that screenshot is I don't know if it's truth. I don't know if it's accurate. Everything can be manipulated on the internet these days, but I just wanted to throw it out there that I saw it. And I have to imagine that the resolution of that tax lien is going to be something that the government is going to be looking at very carefully, because given the state of the company, if the other allegations are true, where on earth did they come up with $1.7 million? And is that $2 million allegation mentioned in the TRO how Courtright resolved that tax lien? Well, that's what I have today, everyone. I'm going to keep poking around on the internet. I've talked to a bunch of people on Facebook Messenger and in the YouTube comments and even on LinkedIn. I have really enjoyed getting to know a lot of you folks. I am very sympathetic to what's going on. I really hate to see the comments in the forum calling people out saying, oh, you should have known better, basically implying that the investors who got sucked into this were somehow stupid and should be shamed for it. When I see that stuff, it makes me mad. I think there will be a time in the future to go back and look at what went wrong and what everyone should have done. But people are really hurting right now. And so the best thing that we can do is try to support these folks. If you come across anything you think I should see, feel free to let me know in the comments on these videos. Send me a Facebook message. I don't spend much time on LinkedIn, but I'll check there regularly for messages. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.